How much tax are you going to pay when you sell your business in the UK? There's only one real answer to that, and that is more than you want to. But jokes aside, tax is the biggest cost that you are going to pay when you sell your business. So it's good to know about all of the different things that you can qualify for before you sell your business. Now, if you're thinking of selling your business in the future, click the link in the description and book a confidential call in which we can talk about your business sale. So selling a business is a costly endeavor, but it's a very fruitful endeavor. It could potentially be the biggest sale that you ever make in your life. So the more that you can benefit from and cut down the amount of tax that you need to pay to HMRC, the better it is. Now, I am not a tax accountant, but I am dealing with business sales and purchases on a daily basis. So I have some experience in this area. The first thing that you want to look at is whether you can qualify for business asset disposal relief. Now, this all depends on how much you're going to sell your business for. If you have never sold a business before in your life and your business sale is below £1 million, then chances are you are very likely to qualify for business asset disposal relief. Now, at the time of making this video, business asset disposal relief is for qualifying sales up to £1 million, and you can pay a lower rate of tax. That rate of tax can either be 14% up until the 5th of April 2026, and thereafter it will rise to 18%. Now, as long as the government doesn't make any further changes to this rule, then that means that you are paying a lower rate, because capital gains tax, which is normally paid on the sale of business assets, is starting at 18%, and then it rises to 24% if you're a higher rate taxpayer. So imagine you're a higher rate taxpayer, instead of paying 24%, you could potentially pay 18% and save yourself 6% in taxation on the sale of your business up to £1 million. Of course, if your sale of your business is above £1 million, let's say you're selling your business for £5 million, then the first £1 million of that sale, you could potentially qualify for business asset disposal relief, and the remaining £4 million, you'll pay the standard CGT rates depending on what you are, a basic rate taxpayer or a higher rate taxpayer. If you're selling your business for £5 million, you're 99% a higher rate taxpayer. Now, there are a few other rules when it comes down to business asset disposal relief, and that is you should have owned the business for at least 2 years before selling it, and you can only make the claim for business asset disposal relief in the same year of when you've sold your business. And that means, let's say for argument's sake, you've sold your business in 2026. You can only make the claim for business asset disposal relief by the 31st of January 2027. And whichever year you're watching this video, you have to make the qualifying judgment based on that. Again, talk to a tax accountant who'll be able to guide you on all of that. Now, when you sell your business, other than taxation, you need to look at how you are selling your business, meaning what's the structure of your deal. A lot of business sales have a upfront payment and then a deferred payment. If the upfront payment and the deferred payment are all guaranteed, of course the upfront payment is going to be guaranteed, but if the deferred payment is guaranteed, meaning it's not an earnout, then you have to pay 100% of tax in the first year after you've sold your business. However, if you're selling your business on an earnout where the payments aren't guaranteed and might be linked to some targets or some other clauses and conditions that have been agreed between you and your business buyer, then there are different rules to that. Speak to your tax accountant whether you need to pay 100% of the tax upfront in year one, or whether you can stage some of those taxation payments as you get paid them. Of course, it's beneficial for you if you can stretch those payments out. Now, there's another way that you could actually minimize or at least defer the amount of tax that you are going to pay when you sell your business, and that is by setting up a holding company. If you have a holding company and that holding company owns the business, and that holding company has owned that business for at least 2 years, and also, and by the way, this is the same for business asset disposal relief, you have to have held the company for at least 2 years and you own at least 5% of the business. The same thing applies here when it comes out to the holding company. Then you could potentially draw that tax-free into the holding company, and the way to then avoid paying tax, or at least deferred paying that tax, is to make an investment of that cash into something else in the same qualifying tax year. So what you do is, let's say for example, you've got a holding company which has owned a business for 2 years plus, and you've sold that business for £10 million. You get that £10 million and you try to deploy that into other investments. And then only when you get paid the dividends of that investment, or let's say you've invested that £10 million or £5 million of that 10 million into property, and as you receive the rent, then you pay the tax accordingly. Of course, when it comes down to holding companies and group structures, there's a lot that you can do in moving your money around your different companies to ensure that you can qualify for good tax rules in the UK. You have to talk to a qualified accountant, and I suggest you do that. If you're a multi-business owner, then you should definitely have a holding company or a group structure set up, because you can then move your money around in a tax efficient way and deploy it into different investments, which could ultimately build your wealth at a greater level. Now, other than the M&A advisor, your tax accountant, your tax lawyer, if you are selling a business for any significant amount, it would be good to talk to a financial advisor as well. So your M&A advisor is going to ensure that you get the best deal when it comes down to the business sale itself. Your tax accountant will help you when it comes down to the taxation. Your M&A lawyer will, of course, help you when it comes down to the legal protections of the sale of your business. But your financial advisor will look at everything and see where that money can be deployed to ensure that you get the most out of the money that you are going to get in that windfall. So in a nutshell, you could pay either 14% if it's before the 5th of April 2026. If it's after that, it'll be 18% up to £1 million of the sale of the business. And then thereafter, you'll be paying anything from 18% all the way up to 24%. Now, understanding the tax side of selling your business is only one area of selling your business. And on this channel, we talk about buying and selling businesses and multiple videos. So click the video which is popping up on the screen, and I will see you in the next video.